Heath Cavett just made me change my whole talk. I taught a class called Theories of Human Nature with Dick Davis and Father Jim Gower before the dog laws. And there were, in the old Yellow Learning Center, there was one dog, one student, one dog, all around the room. And all I can remember is the dogs were so much more intense about the class than the students were because they had further to go, especially in that subject. Some of us have been studying Moby Dick this term. So I'm thinking of COA not as a fixed point, but as a vessel moving through time and space. In the beginning, it was a log dugout, hollowed out by Homo erecti, using quahog shells. Then we were a frail bark, almost sunk, but heroically revived. Then came the Indigo with propulsion issues, but basically sound. And this year, the gallant and gleaming Osprey at the college pier. But this afternoon, after an executive meeting of the Enlargement Committee, I can announce we have made an offer on a cruise ship. The Costa Concordia. It's presently in use by senior citizens, but time is on our side. Our campus, too, that began in a single leaky old summer home, has outgrown the Garden of Eden and is now advancing a tentacle across Route 3 toward the helpless village. If the citizens were nervous about us in the beginning, now they have good reason, as they realize what Occupy Bar Harbor really means. Hearing the names of legendary teachers like Bill Drury and Dan Kane, I wish they could be here today to see the evolution, not just of our physical plant, but the idea of human ecology, which reaches into unexplored territory with every one of these senior projects and every new faculty appointment. Those who watched a single student graduate in 1975 could hardly imagine this class of 83 human beings, educated for a changing global reality and ready to head into town and look for a job. While we're recalling Bill and Dan, we should add the memories of late faculty members Craig Green and Dick Davis, and this year with immeasurable sadness, President Lou Rabineau, whose navigational skills brought us through the squalls of our second decade, as no one else on the planet could have done. When I pass Lou's old office in Turrets, I can still hear that voice saying, "Bill, you got a second?" And I'd be in for an hour of Lou's cockamamie humor and his complex admiration for what we do. Time is unstoppable, and we sail on despite our losses. But because of the sea's liquidity, these colleagues and shipmates continue alongside and around our passage as if they were still alive. They were role models for all of us in their incredible presence and devotion to their students that influence us to this day, not just in the classroom, but on a personal and individual level that permeated everything they did. As I write this, beside my coffee mug is the ship's log of Bill Drury's sloop, the Guillemot, and I cannot find an entry where Bill left the mooring without a handful of COA students aboard. Our legacy from these teachers of teachers is a face-to-face intellectual interaction that we value all the more because elsewhere it is threatened with extinction. This year, a single Stanford class has 210,000 students. I'm thinking of driving home in our Subaru tonight with 200,000 term papers in the back. No room for Donna. That's not how we do it at COA. Our work requires an irreducible element of human presence that can't be digitized. It's 40 years exactly since an NEH grant allowed the original faculty to spend all summer perfecting the perfect institution for the students when they arrived. Then, before the end of fall term 1972, in the great spirit of democracy, the students overturned everything we'd done. From that point, we worked together, all of us, barely distinguishing students from faculty, except they could outvote us in ACM. You may be just out of high school, or you may be a 100-year-old trilobite with 3 PhDs. But in the face of the unknown, we share a humility and intellectual equity that restarts from zero every year. We left the old universities behind for a new style of inquiry, mutual and collaborative, affording an equal respect to every questioner in the search. The old disciplines and vested authorities walked the plank. We had no majors and no departments, no resource areas, no publish and perish, no academic regalia, no assistant professors, no valedictorians, no tenure track, no deans, no chairpersons, no Phi Beta Kappa, no summa cum laude, no money, and not a no money and not a clue about this apparition we were supposed to pursue. We did realize that no specialty or group or individual could be more important than any other, or it wouldn't work. And that meant not only faculty and students, but also the staff members who actually sail this thing, without whom we could not have lasted a single term. Few will care to remember the month of February 1973, when the third-floor faculty attempted to maintain their own hallway and washroom until the police came. The infrastructure and physical campus are inseparable from the mission. My real learning day begins at 6 p.m. when Howdy looks into Witchcliff and says, "What's going on?" Human ecology constantly interrogates us as to why we exist and who we are. Our only answers are the things we make with our own minds and hands. You will never see a population work as hard as these COA seniors in their last month here. While other classes of 2012 slipped into post-baccalaureate oblivion, ours were in a frenzy of obsessed, sleepless, panicked, and mostly sober creativity, producing these great projects of which you only saw the tip of the iceberg today. The campus has been like New York City for the last 3 weeks. Original plays and poetry, movies, novels, nonstop turrets, basement performances, and Blum exhibits. The only place to chill, I found it, the only place to chill has been over in the museum in Jane Marie's Jellyfish Darkroom, which the sign says, enter only after you've experienced the weed exhibit. In Kira's hands, the moldy disintegration of Turret's basement became a medieval alchemist's laboratory. Stalactites of quicklime dripping from the roof. You'd think you were in an ancient castle ready to collapse. Many projects are a voyage in themselves. We are in Tibet with Erica's portraits, at the Mexican border with Julie's drawings, on the cultural fault lines of the Middle East with Emmy's stunning solo performance. We're dragging our canoe over the rocks with Franklin building Urz's unbelievable solar steam engine, which we will never know if it really works because it's in Nepal. We're riding shotgun in Luke's movie as Andy's strange offspring stalks his next victim on the roads of night. Never hire a hitman from COA. They're too altruistic. They don't get the point of guns. When you shoot someone, you're not supposed to die yourself. God bless human ecologists. Even murder is a collaborative effort. And what strikes me is the sheer abundance of collaboration in every one of these projects. For me, most thoroughly visible, I guess, in Beau's dance performance, which brought to our eyes everything we tried to teach and learn about the solitude, violence, connectedness, and rapture of human life. And what amazes me is no matter how hard COA students labor on their own endeavors, they make time to attend and joyously celebrate their classmates' work. There have been a harvest of achievements by both students and faculty this spring. But no honor or attainment, no matter how large, has any meaning except in relation to the community that gives it birth and receives it in the end. 4 decades ago, we cast off on this voyage, and I don't know who ever would have signed up had they told us we'd never see land again. We've had no word from headquarters since the last century. Once in a while, a blimp or helicopter appears, and they drop us a new captain. That's all we get. This time, they sent us a recycled one. So I guess they're getting the point. And they also seem to be getting younger. The present one being so awesome, I hear his successor will be a 3-year-old child chosen from among the inhabitants of the countryside. The recruiters deceived us. They called it a temporary appointment, but there's no getting off this thing. We've long since consumed the alcohol. The only food left is the gluten-free eggplant that's been here for 15 years in the hold. And the winds are behind us, so there's no return. All the mail that reaches us are these strange empty envelopes from the development office. You may visit the Lompoc and get wasted for a night, but in the morning you sign on again, even to the ends of the earth. You start changing the minute you step aboard, and soon you're unfit for reality and have to create a new one to survive. The mad captain deep-sixed the compass. The only direction is the future. It's thick with fog. We can barely make out this huge white sperm whale traveling always just ahead of us. It's the zombie phantom of human ecology with a face you can't tell if he's geriatric or 18. His eyes are on the side of his head, so he sees both worlds. He's got an Old Testament prophet in his esophagus. He's dragging 1,000 barbs and lances and harpoon points where we have tried to kill him, but he still swims on. Thank you.